Folks, welcome back. My name is Rudy. You're watching Alpha Investments. Hope everyone's had a beautiful beautiful day out there. Today we go back to the Lord of the Rings conversation. So this is an interesting video. I didn't think would ever happen. So Lord of the Rings holiday special boxes that everybody said was the biggest hump of trash is now more expensive and has now outperformed the main Lord of the Rings summer set that everybody went crazy for. Let me say that one more time for the slow people in the back, and of course all the little Rudies out there. The holiday special collector box that was ridiculed. I did a bunch of videos on box openings and everybody just tore me to shreds, is now better performing and more expensive than the one everybody bet on. So this video is going to discuss why and how this happened. Okay. And friendly reminder, I didn't think this was going to happen. I just thought that the holiday special box was a decent product, but I didn't think it was going to outperform the main one. This is a very interesting dynamic of what happens when we go through a bear market and market pricing and distortion occurs, and you get a lot of confusion and a lot of kind of wishy-washiness. Emotions take over. Logic, common sense, and finances get blurred and sloshed around. I always predicted, if I had to predict in 2024, 2025, I thought the main Lord of the Rings collector box from the summer, the big dog with the main serialized rings, I thought that would be like $500 to $700 a box. Even after the one ring was pulled. I know, laugh it up, Chuckles. And then I thought the holiday special one would appreciate from that $250, $300 range where it bottomed to probably $450. I didn't think the holiday special would be pushing towards $500. It's like $460, $465 plus tax. And the summer one's like $445. So the fact they've inverted, and the summer one did not go up as much, and the holiday special one has a higher percentage increase from the lows, is a very bizarre situation that does happen in not only in finance and Wall Street and real equities and bonds and everything, but it happens in collectibles, happens in real estate, happens in Bitcoin crypto world. It happens in all asset classes. You get these weird moments where you kind of stand back and you're like, you do the Rudy face. That's the Rudy face. And it's like, why? I don't get it. I don't understand how a product that's like 8-9 months old can go from like hated, terrible, to like every card in the set has gone up in price. The serialized cards, there's barely any available online, are expensive as hell. All the chase cards, the poster stuff, the land cycles, the surge foils, everything from Nazi G's to literally Bowmasters and Archers, and just, it's a bizarre thing. And I think this goes back to what we talked about with Commander Masters a few days ago, and even we touched on the new Modern Horizons 3. It feels like a lot of this is being led by single cards. And of course, the game piece army, I know that triggers people. In other words, the player base who just want to play with cards, don't care if it goes to zero. They just want to spend their money on the cards. Even if the money goes to zero is worthless. They don't care about trading their time for work and then work for cash and putting in the cards and then the money's gone. It feels like the regular player base is just buying the cards for not only playability, but collecting. And it feels like that's what's driving sealed product of modern Magic right now. Which is really weird because of how expensive Hasbro and WotC's made these prices. And yet we have a situation where, I'm making video after video. Wildsville Drain collectors, all-time high. Ixalan collectors, all-time high. Ravnica Remastered collectors, all-time high. Lord of the Rings, all-time high. Karlov Manor, all-time... No, it's still all-time low. Shit show. Rudy, you pounded us in the face. All-time low! And then, of course, Outlaw Thunder Junction, Wild West, DeLorean Back to the Future Part 3. Just kind of holding stronger than we all thought. I think, 220s, 230 shipped on eBay TCG Player? That's... The supply reductions, the behavior shifts of this bull market and new market cycle have been absolutely insane. Like, I predicted stability, but I never saw this kind of an uptick. And to see the Lord of the Rings situation Because similar to Commander Masters, the number one argument was it was overpriced. Here was Wizards double dipping the same IP to just milk us all. And of course, don't buy it since the market rejected the product. Because remember, last year, any product that got rejected, the narrative on why you shouldn't buy it is because if the product gets rejected, WotC and distribution gets stuck with it, and they'll be forced to do Cynthia Philip Morris. Oh wait, she's not there anymore? She'll be forced to do Amazon dumps. So that was the attitude of stores and educated people. Now, dumbass Rudy's out there like, oh, just keep buying everything, stay the course, me. But in reality, everybody had a good argument to not buy. The counterpoint of don't do it, Rudy, because if they can't sell it, they're stuck with inventory. Hasbro said they had an inventory problem last year in the earnings report, and they have to flush it out, which was a true thing. These are all facts. So I get why people felt that way, but I also know that, the worse the market conditions, the more you got to pull up your third nut and you got to go for it, You have to push even harder. The worse it feels, the probability is higher and higher skewed in your favor. The more nauseous, the more, oh God, Rudy, I bought this. Everyone's going to sell it back to Rudy. It's 60 cents on the dollar. When you look at this stuff, but there's a lot of truth to it because a lot of people over leveraged. They bought these things and they did have to liquidate at losses. They did sell back to Rudy for 61.2 cents on the dollar. That all of these things did happen, but there's also a small chunk, one person, that probably held on and kept buying cases. And there are people out there. I get the messages. I've seen the people have literally, I've had patrons send me messages and pictures. I've had you all, not even patrons, still hate me. Rudy, you're a scumbag. But I'd give you a hug. Only if you buy me tacos first. And it's one of those things where people are like, Rudy, I kept buying. I was ridiculed by my local play group. Now I know you're lying. There's no one who plays Magic anymore. And it's suddenly, they show me pictures like, look at this. I have these cases. Everything's up 30, 40, 50%. All new stuff, not old stuff. Rudy's old playground of vintage is still, it's like Fallout Wasteland back in the old vintage days. But it's one of these things where that's just what happened. And it's difficult for all of us to accept this, including me at times. I'm like, what? What is that? It's difficult to accept a hard market turn. And it happened. And unfortunately now that we've had that happen, the new narrative online is it's a dead cat bounce. It's still a bear market. It's all a fake pumper, dumper. I don't know. Rudy's buying and selling to his ex back and forth to fluff the numbers. Rudy's a fluffer and all this stuff. Hashtag Rudy's a fluffer. I know you're watching the video. All these memes and jokes and things, but I'm sorry, but we're in May. This is the 5th month of 2024. In every single release from the last 9 months, hell, the last year, except what? Carlos, who got Foreclosed Manor, everything's done really well. New Magic, not old Magic. And that's just what the data shows. And by the time the perma bears and the negative people realize the supply adjustments, what's happening, the upticks in modern, the success of standard, by the time these things really take footing, a lot of people will eventually turn and they will kind of start being less Debbie Downer. They're going to be more, remember, if you're positive, you're a wizard shill. If you're negative, then you're trying to push it down to pump dump, whatever direction you feel for the direction of the wind today. But there will be a point that most people are going to get bullish again. But by the time that happens, it's probably going to be like another year from now, where most of the money, it happens on Wall Street all the time. When stocks or the market starts to move up, most people don't buy. They literally, it is a statistically proven thing. It could be real estate, it could be Bitcoin, it could be collectibles, it could be the stock market, it could be the bond market. People, when we went through the 2-year crash, the S&P 500, okay, the lowest, I was making videos. There's like 10 to 15 videos from 2023 of me yelling, say buy anything, log into on Wall Street, buy the S&P, buy any mutual fund exposed to the market, close your eyes, click the button. But Rudy, I did that, and the next day it went down more. That's correct, Buttercup. Buckle it up, because guess what? Buy again, and tomorrow, I promise you, you're going to lose money. And that was the correct thing to do. But most people don't want to do that, because as a human, we don't want to literally work hard, get a paycheck, put it into something, wake up the next day to go back to work, and we've lost 5% or something. Like, nobody wants to do that. We all work, we all get up and have an objective. Maybe we work for our families or our children, the next generation. Or maybe we have addictions to blow up dolls and vibrating, I don't know, paraphernalia. And, we all have a reason, but nobody wants to wake up and lose money. Which, again, is why Rudy's always very adamant. I still believe new stuff. Standard, singles, modern. I don't care what the young people who even buy new Magic, those cards need to have value. Young people who work hard and can't afford much when they buy Magic, those cards need to hold value for them because they have even more limited resources, which should be even more defended and respected for the money they input. But that's doesn't matter. That's Rudy's goofy, distorted world. And here we are, reflecting back now 9 months of Lord of the Rings. In my opinion, it's being led by modern single card purchasing. And I have to admit, I remained very skeptical, but pretty much we've had serialized cards since Brothers War, in that first secret lair that hit some serialized backwards cards, Viscera here. And serialized cards are working. They add a lot of value. More serialized cards are being graded. And this is a hot take too. This is a hot take. There has even been a bizarre uptick in modern Magic cards being graded. New Magic. Mostly serialized cards. But we are seeing across, and not just Rudy, and not just Rudy's PCG, Premier Card, USA owner, not just in general, on the open market, we are seeing more of the insert subsets. Enchanting Tales, Wild of Eldraine, the hidden, Outlaw's Thunder, the little subsets, serialized cards. We're seeing more of the variant hidden subsets in new Magic getting slapped and having premiums. And I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what's causing that. Usually, historically, new Magic, modern Magic does not do well being graded and slapped. It's a Pokemon thing. Now, Pokemon is outrageous. Modern Pokemon is just insane with people grading the new cards. And it's a very hot market. People will slab the brand. I mean, you got a new, Twilight coming out with Pokemon? The previous Temporal? You have thousands of those cards being slabbed, and people pay premiums and go after anything that's 9, 5s, and 10s. It's a really wild thing. So, the conclusion of this video is I just wanted to make the acknowledgement that you all have been messaging me about this Lord of the Rings thing. No, I don't believe Wizards is going back to make more Lord of the Rings sets. Yes, I do believe these upticks are real. And no, I don't think they're being manipulated and, trying to, behind the scenes. It's just no. This is the most organic uptick in Magic I've seen, probably in the 9 years I've been on YouTube. This is the least amount of evil investors, Rudy patron army. We are not seeing any major kind of, how do I say it, bottlenecking, cornering of the market, secret cabal. We're not seeing any of that. It's just natural upticks. And, we're on the backs of Modern Horizons 3. And buckle up. It's going to do well. And people are going to be upset that it does well because it's expensive. Because Hasbro they raise prices on us. But it's going to do well. And that's a tough thing for all of us to swallow. Sometimes you choke a little because it's a lot to swallow. What are we talking about? So, the Lord of the Rings thing, this is all I'm really going to cover on it. I just really wanted to make this video to acknowledge that, yeah, I see it. And yeah, everybody's chattering about it. And yeah, it looks like the Lord of the Rings Collector Summer and the Special Holiday are both probably going to be $500 to $1,000 collector boxes into the future. The supply is incredibly low, and the demand and the sell-through rate remains very strong. Even at almost over $500 with tax and shipping now on TCG Player. And people are still buying them. And there's a finite amount of these. I know a lot of people, let me just say this before we end the video. A lot of people message me about, Rudy, what do you think the impact is of streamers and whatnot and Twitch and OnlyFans doing these box breaks of old stuff and new stuff? And it's removing the supply. Like you always say, Rudy, you can take sealed to singles, but you can't convert from single to sealed. It's a one-way transition. That's correct. And I do believe that is having a bullish impact on sealed product, but I don't think it is the leading variable of why things are upticking. I genuinely think the biggest reason we're seeing modern Magic and sealed product doing so well across the board is, most people didn't buy it. The supplies are lower, the print runs are lower, and the single cards are going up, and the market's repricing. I think it's as simple as that. I don't think there's any other secret complex reason. I just think it's naturally going higher. And it feels more organic than it ever has. And I think that's a crazy thing. Thanks for watching.